Greetings, welcome. It's another Monday morning madness, and welcome to another Clive Live-ish. It's not really just Clive Live because it's Clive and Judi as well with a special guest. And how are we this morning, Jude?
Yes, very well, Clive. How are you doing? Got your coffee ready to go for another great week?
I tell you what, that trip to South Africa and back really knocked me around, you know. Luckily, we've got to stop over in Adelaide today, so
yes,
you know, we've broken the trip up. But that was a great session last week with Chase, and overcoming adversity, I think, is the big one. I think I was telling some friends of mine that are non-hairdressers about what the situation was like in South Africa, and I think that the feedback was complete bewilderment. You know, like
absolutely. We can't fathom the adversity that they've had over there and that Chase has gone through. It's incredible.
The good news is you are now on week 4. You've broken the back of it. You know, so week 4. When this goes to air, you'll be on the 4th week, won't you? Is that right?
We will. Yes. We're coming close to being able to leave our houses again. So it's been a long haul this time. These second round of lockdowns are not fun, and we're very much feeling lockdown fatigue in Melbourne. But we're doing what we need to do and keeping everyone safe.
You know, and the good news is, as Julia and Grace said, that when you do, I mean, it's good to get a rest, right? Because when you come back, it's going to be super busy. You know.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely going to be there. Anyway, are you excited, Jude? I'm excited.
So excited.
I know, we're super excited. We've brought to you, what am I talking about? We have got another great guest for you this morning. This guy is super talented. And please welcome to the show this morning, Daniel Lepore from Palladeum in South Australia, Adelaide. Mate, it's great to see you again.
How are we?
We are good. We're good. Yeah, it's good. This Monday morning, it's nice and bright. Nice and
You got to have a good Monday morning.
I know, it's good. But mate, thank you so much for coming on the show. And what we usually do to start off the show is we usually just get you to do a brief introduction of who you are and your brief hairdressing background. That would be fabulous.
Cool. So a little bit about myself. I've been hairdressing 24 years. I started hairdressing with someone other than my family, because my whole family, just to give you a little bit of a briefing about my family, nearly everyone in my family are hairdressers, including my mum, my dad, both my uncles, my auntie. So we come from a hairdressing background. So I decided to go do my apprenticeship with someone completely different. So that way I wasn't involved with any family through that period. And then at the end of my apprenticeship, I decided to go into partnership with my father. So we had a salon called Symmetry Cutters down here in Adelaide, and we had that one running for about 13 years. In that process, I then bought another salon called the Palladeum, which we are in now, and we sold Symmetry, and we eventually started the Palladeum as it is today and brought most of our staff from Symmetry over to the Palladeum. So this is where the Palladeum sort of stems from now. In regards to myself, I've been in my journey of hairdressing. I've worked with a few different companies over the years in which I've done a lot of education. So for me, it all started when I was with a company called Schwarzkopf, in which I did a lot of stage presentations with Schwarzkopf. I did that for about 8 years, and then I enjoyed the education side of hairdressing and teaching and getting the word out there. And you know, just I feel if I can give something back to the industry is what I've really enjoyed, and it's a passion for me. Then why not be able to do that? So, and then that's obviously followed on with Goldwell as well, and yeah, so this is sort of where I am today.
So Dan, we recently chatted to Grace and Julia from Next Dimension, who were our very first muck hybrid colour salon, and I thought it would be great to actually get you on to have a chat to us, because you are probably one of our newest muck hybrid colour salons, and you've been with the Muck family for about 3 weeks now. So welcome. It's so great to have you and the team on board. So I thought it just would be interesting to hear about, how you came to being part of the Muck family.
How did I become part of the Muck family? So I think I was looking for something new, something exciting, something different. And I just felt that Muck had, I suppose, a lot of those, let me just, I suppose, look at my area. The area that our salon is actually in is quite a quirky little area. It's got a lot of people who prefer things to be naturally derived and all those sorts of things as well. So I thought, the Muck brand actually talks a lot about, animal cruelty and all that sort of stuff, like animal cruelty free and vegan. So it sort of suited the area that we're in as well. And then playing with the colour over a couple of weeks, we just thought the colour worked really well. The shine that the colour came with, it was amazing. That was sort of what pushed us to join the Muck family. Yeah,
amazing. That's great. How's it been?
Fantastic. 3 weeks of it, but it's been good.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Yeah, no,
it's amazing. The team are enjoying it.
Yeah, they love it. Everything takes a little while to get used to, but I think, it's a pretty straightforward colour. If you understand colour, you can work with anything. But this one here is just, the transition's been fantastic. So
yeah, amazing. That's great to hear. And you've got good support there in Adelaide.
Yeah, we do. We've got Urska down here. She's great.
Yeah.
She's really supported us through the whole time. Even Tori's been amazing as well. So
yeah, great, fantastic. Yeah, amazing.
No, it's awesome stuff, Daniel. Welcome to a very elite club, my friend.
Good.
It's
good to be here.
It's good to be back on the same page. It's good. It's great to see. It's great to have you on here. Now, you mentioned that you're in Croydon, right, in Adelaide?
Correct. Yeah.
Which is a very quirky area, as you mentioned. And, I have been stalking your Instagram earlier on. And one of the things that I noticed was your diversity of your clientele. And I've followed you for quite some time, and you always do incredible work. Your work on your page is incredible. And we'll be showing some of those examples as I'm speaking right now. But tell us about the range of work you do, because I know you touched on it at the beginning that you was an educator. That's when I met you as an educator, and we'll talk about it a bit later on in the interview. But you've got some pretty big accolades to your name. So tell us about the range of clients you work with in Croydon in this new area.
So I think our clientele is quite diverse. So we do from we are quite a big, strong colour salon. So my staff in particular love working with colour. So for them, I suppose they're the ones who do a lot of our big colour work here. I sort of move more into the cutting aspect of the salon, and I suppose my clients can be really diverse. We can go from stuff that's quite solid, that's quite sharp, all the way through to stuff that can be quite quirky and fun and quite textured. Do you know what I mean? So we do a huge variety here. It's not just we've got that same look. I know on our Instagram page and stuff, it is a lot of colour-based work because that's the easiest stuff sometimes to put up there, and you can just see how the hair flows and stuff with colour. It's beautiful. The girls obviously love doing all their balayage sort of stuff at the moment. It's about trying to make it as soft as possible and, make sure that it grows out quite well. But yeah, other than that, our clientele is quite diverse. So we do from ranges between, 20s to 60s. It really doesn't really make any difference at all. So
yeah, you got some good stuff up there, mate. I mean, I've seen you cut hair and you are a wizard, mate. And I was stalking your Instagram today. There's a beautiful, which I'll send it to where they'll put it up, a graduated, and there's this blonde mullet on this girl that's really strong, sort of dark underneath the blonde mullet, or mulet as I like to call it. Yeah, so yeah, it's gorgeous stuff, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And on your Instagram, Dan, I noticed that it seems to be that you customise so incredibly well. So even with your balayages and your blondes, you're not just doing a kind of one for all and all for one. It looks to me like you've got this really great kind of customising and suitability down pat. So even in your blondes, you've got a really beautiful range of the cooler blondes and warmer blondes. And how do you go about kind of, making sure that you're really nailing it for your clients? Because when you get it that right for your clients, it's that word of mouth and the clients looking amazing with work that really suits them, that is obviously goes a long way towards building your business. So how do you make sure that you get that right?
I think that all comes down to, for us anyway, like it comes down to consultation. I think consultations are key. That's, your biggest tool that you can use in the salon. So I think if you utilize your consultation properly, you should be able to work that through with every client. Our girls in here nail it every time. They're fantastic at their color. I can't ask for better girls that work for me the way they do their work. So, but yeah, I think the thing I sort of try to really hone in on is a lot of the time is the consultation and getting it right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Now, listen, I this is how I know you as a multiple award winner. I know that I think all three of us were all born from a very similar egg at some stage during our career. We cracked through that shell, but I know that you've is it 4 times you've won the Gold Ball Colour Zoom for Australia?
Correct. It's been I've took out the Australian leg of it 4 times, which has been really good. I've managed to, well, in regards to the Colour Zoom one that I've taken out, we've managed to travel a fair bit around the world to compete on the world scale. Competing against other people around the world is pretty amazing. I think like just having so much talent in one room and actually up against that talent just makes you feel really special, I suppose. So, but yeah, that was a huge achievement for me to win those 4. There's obviously been other accolades through my time as well that I've done and won in the creative side. But other than that, yeah, I think Colour Zoom was like at the sort of pinnacle of what I was doing at the time. So it was really good.
I mean, following on from that, obviously to win that 4 times, to win it once, you've got to be incredibly talented. Yep. I think it was Berlin and Los Angeles where I saw you competing in those 2 places, which Berlin is an incredibly inspiring place. I don't know about you, but I thought that was one of the most magical places on the planet. But what's your go-to for inspiration? When I see your work, when I saw you at those competitions, I'm like, how does he come up with this stuff? Like it's genius. So what's your go-to?
So I think my go-to when it comes to inspiration is sometimes people watching. So I love just sitting around looking at, like, a lot of the youth walking around, you see the inspiration for a lot of the youth just walking the streets. Do you know what I mean? Like the home jobs that they do, with their haircuts, and you see them walking around with like a bit here and a bit there. And I don't know, you draw from that and you go, you know what, that could really work, or this could work. But also I'm lucky enough, obviously, to get to travel a fair bit around the world, and you get a lot of inspiration from different parts of the world too. So putting it all together, and then obviously with the internet, I suppose these days the world's quite close anyway. Nothing's really that far away. I think we draw a lot of inspiration from everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So
I do.
Yeah, I think street. I think the street is the main area. I reckon. Like you get a lot of the youth showing you where it's going and what's happening, and and like they see it all live everywhere these days. Anyway, nothing's really that far away. So
yeah, definitely. And I think it's one thing to kind of having that inspiration and then bringing that back to a commercial sense in the salon. How do you go about it? Have you got like a salon kind of statement or philosophy to make sure that you guys are capturing, all that inspiration, and how do you go about sort of then, making that part of the salon philosophy?
I think our philosophy in our salon, as a statement as such, but it's more like a philosophy, is that, we've got to really educate ourselves as hairdressers to actually understand what's happening out there. So I think by educating ourselves and actually going out there and actually looking at what's happening and following what's going on, especially with like, you know, all your social media these days. I said to them, everyone has to be up to date with it. So that sort of drags in, I suppose, a little bit more of our philosophy, in which we want the utmost best for our clientele, and we want the utmost best for the results we get at all times. And for us to do that, it's about grabbing that education and bringing it into our salon. Do you know what I mean? So it makes us a better salon, and makes us a better a business, and also our Palladeum family, as we call it. It gives them a reason to come back every week, you know. So
yeah. And so is that sort of something that is formalized? Like, do you have like training plans in place in the salon? Is it structured? Is it more sort of evolving? How does it happen?
I think our business at the moment is still evolving. We're only been in this salon for 5 years. We got training things in process, in programs in place and stuff like that, but I don't like to make it too contrived. Do you know what I mean? I want my staff to have creativity and be able to use that creativity and not be stuck in a box or thinking, do we have to do it this way? I want you to do it the best way you can do it. So I really feel we are evolving at the moment. It's still quite young, the business. And I think it's just going to keep evolving for the next few years until, it's never really going to be until it's right, because you forever change. I think that's how hairdressing is. That's how life is. Yeah. So we never really stop. We always keep moving. So.
Yeah, great. And it's such a good point. We need to keep evolving. We need to keep moving. And that's how, you know, we are in that industry that evolves all the time. And if we get stuck, then we're not going to evolve with it. We're not going to be relevant. So I think it's just so important to continue to be open and evolve and looking for the next thing as well.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You don't want to get stuck. You don't want to get stuck on a merry-go-round, just going round and round in circles. You need to keep moving forward. So that's how I look at it, and I think that's how my staff really look at it at the moment as well, which is great. So.
It's our industry, isn't it? I mean, it's like, you know, clients are coming in and going, well, what's new? What's going on? Back in the day when we had magazines, you know, we were like, what's the latest trend? And all those can't remember those things. Even that's just evolved, you know what I mean? And, you know, and I love the fact you call it a family as well. I mean, we do the same thing with our business. And, you know, we've been in business for 10 years, and I still feel like I'm a baby. Like, we're learning stuff every day. Like, even this morning we did a Zoom scene planning meeting, and Kelly mentioned, you know, that the way that we tone now is not like how we toned 2 years ago. You know, everything has changed, and you've got to continually change. Otherwise, we just get left behind. And that's when we started off in this industry. That's what we were hungry for. And it's so easy to become complacent. And it's fascinating listening to you, actually, because I was a bit taken back, actually, when you said, you know, like, you know, you let you guys do their own thing, because I can imagine the discipline that you must have. And it's often been, I've heard people talk about you and a great compliment saying that you are meticulous. And I've seen, you know, especially with those competitions. I mean, it's not just like a wing it on the day. You've got to replicate it halfway around the world with the same person, and it's got to look as good as the picture. So for someone to have that discipline, and to also let them have the freedom, I applaud you. You know, it's fantastic.
I think the thing is, especially with the younger generation coming through, they don't like being boxed, if that makes sense. They sort of prefer, they need to be able to do their own thing a little bit. And I find if we don't move with the way they're sort of thinking, we will sort of like fall behind a little bit as well. But with every I suppose, how do I put it? I suppose with every sort of freedom that I give them, there always has to be a little bit of structure behind everything as well. And that's just me personally. But there always has to be some structure, but you sort of need to let them have that freedom. So
absolutely, otherwise they're going to,
they'll
run
leave.
like but how would you describe your style, Daniel? How would you describe your style of hairdressing?
My style of hairdressing, so I'm a stickler for really sharp lines. So I love those really sharp haircuts. I think having that feel with a lot of my work, I do, but then I always add that little bit of softness in there as well. But it can vary. I'm a cutter, so I prefer to cut, which I suppose my style can go from sharp lines to soft edges. It can go everywhere. But yeah, I love the old, Sassoon's. His style of cutting is amazing. Everyone loves Sassoon's cutting, but adding that texture to the Sassoon's haircuts is fantastic as well. So yeah, I've got a bit. I prefer a little bit of everything. I love cutting curly hair. I know a lot of people don't like cutting curly hair, but my hair naturally is quite ringly, so I tend to cut curly hair the way I want to cut curly hair, which is the way I'd cut my own curly hair. So I do a lot of wave and a lot of curl as well on top of that. So
Well done, mate.
It's great. It's very interesting, Dan, that you say that you're a cutter. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal that for a hair cutter you've won Colour Zoom 4 times. Wow.
I do colour as well.
Yeah, obviously you're very good at it. So congratulations. So you made a statement, and I did notice this when I was looking at your socials, that you referred to the Palladeum as family, and the statement that you've got, that staff firmly believe that it's like a personal relationships are the key to hairdressing, and every client is treated like part of the family at Palladeum. What does that look and feel like for you?
So I think we want every client to come into our business and feel like they're part of our family. They want to come in here, they want to be treated with respect, but they also want to come into a happy and fun environment as well. So we try to keep it as fun as possible here at the Palladeum. But I think the way the industry is starting to move is to that real boutique style environment where they can come and everyone in the salon knows everybody, all your staff know all your clients, they know you, you know them. How have you been? And I think remembering a little bit about each and every one of your clients is such a huge positive for your business, and it makes them feel like they're part of your family, each and individual client. So I suppose that's how it sort of looks for us. Clients love just popping in and just coming past just to say hey. If they're walking to our area itself is quite friendly like that. We do have a lot of people just walking around that live in the area because it is a suburban area that we're in. It's not in the city, but it's only 4 kilometres out of the city. We do have a real community vibe here, which I suppose goes a long way to getting our clients or making our clients happy. Do you know what I mean? So we feel like we're part of that community as well.
Yeah, it's great.
It sounds very similar to the Potts Point where my salon is. Even the postman we buy him a mug when we could go on holiday, and he drops in for a cup of tea every day to have a chat. You know what I mean? That's the postman. Yeah. And he knows all the clients too. So incidentally, I mean, you mentioned family, and I know I'm meant to ask you at the beginning, but you mentioned your aunties and your cousins and your dad. They don't all work with you, do they?
No. No. No one works with each other. There's nothing wrong with it. I reckon I've always, one dream that I had when I first started out hairdressing, it'd be pretty amazing if I could get all of our family to open up one salon. Do you know what I mean? And work together. That would be pretty. But I don't know how that would go somehow.
To me, I mean, not that my family's, I've got a couple of hairdressers, but that would be like having Christmas lunch every day. It's just going to end in a fight, You're not. Talking of which, you mentioned that you bought the business or took it over from your dad. What was that like for him? And and then to take the business and make it your own. Was that a bit weird?
Well, what we did is we had Symmetry together. Yeah. So this business here, me and my wife bought this business separately on the side because we had a few issues with the city and trying to get a new lease on our building. So just in case we couldn't get a new lease, we bought this salon at the time. And in the end, we kept our lease in the city and we stayed in the city for another 3 years. But I think my father was at a stage in his life where he decided that he was at the end of his career. He still wants to work. I think, that's fantastic. I think it's great that he still comes in a couple of days a week. But we sold the city salon and he's just come on board over here with us. And it's a hard one, that one. It's hard when you're in business with family to then separate. I found that the hardest. I think because, you always have someone to bounce off of at the end of the day as well. And then all of a sudden you're in your own business and there's no one bouncing off it. But, you do what you do. We've made it our own, the salon now. There's certain things that we would have done together that I wouldn't do here. Like styling of the salon's changed. There's been a few minor changes, but the overall philosophy from my father and myself, we've tried to, I still bring through because that's how I got taught as well. So, I think that's been embedded in me right the way through business. So that's sort of stayed with me the whole way. So yeah, it was hard when we closed one down. That was my baby, Symmetry, in the city. So that was my first ever salon. And so letting that salon go was probably one of the hardest things I did. I think my wife had to listen to me complain about it every day for about 3 or 4 weeks, but we got through it, so it was good.
I commend you, mate. I mean, I would struggle being in the car with my family for a whole day, let alone being in business. But do you know what you remind me of? You know Edwin Johnston, right? He bought his family. His mum and dad owned a salon in Canada, and he worked for them for years. And eventually, they said you can buy it. And I was with him at the time when he'd had it about a year, and he said, Clive, the weirdest thing was because his dad still worked a couple of days a week in the salon. He goes, I gave my dad his first paycheck. It's like he said, I'd planned for everything, but he said, because in Canada apparently they still pay people by check, and he said to actually walk up to my dad and go, there you go, like your retail's down this week, Dad.
You know what? You just let them do what they need to do.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't tell them what to do, so you just let them do what they need to do.
Just let them do it. That's right. Good on you, mate. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, there's definitely some things that you would need to, let slide to keep family relations ticking along. So, but that's great. I love how fondly you talk about being in business with and having your family involved, Dan. That's fantastic. And so with obviously the background that your dad's given you and there's family in hairdressing, what do you think today? You're obviously exceeding customer service, but what do you think clients are actually looking for in their salon experience today? And how do you go about exceeding their expectations? Because based on your reviews, you obviously exceed their expectations. So how do you go about doing that?
I think, I sort of touched on it a little bit before as well, but I think it's a lot of it's got to do with customer care. I think, it's got to do with from when they walk in through the front door, how they get greeted when they walk in. Every client gets greeted. So customer service has to be at the top end at all times. And like I said before, they walk in, from the moment they get their coat taken to they sit down at the chair to they walk into the chair. It's all about everyone saying hello to that customer and just making them feel really welcome within our business. As soon as someone feels, I suppose, a little bit more welcome, they just relax when they sit in that chair, and I think they feel at ease, and they feel like, I can finally just relax and just let them do what they need to do. So I think for us, it's customer service is like at the high end, which is what we constantly keep striving to do better and better and better. So
yeah, great. And you mentioned there that getting their quote. something that I read in your review was that that customers love it. Oh, did you say coat or quote?
Getting their jacket for them, hanging it up.
Oh, okay. Because I did actually read in your reviews how people actually love your transparent pricing policy, and I think that's something that is a great thing to do, to make sure that there's no surprises at the end, like that everything is quoted, you know, or as well as getting their coat, that it's, you know, they know exactly what the process is going to be, and it is really transparent. So that's obviously working really well for you.
Yeah. See, I've got a thing where I don't believe. I know this sounds quite fun. I don't believe in price lists. Do you know what I mean? I believe a customer needs to come in, we give them a proper consultation, whether it be on social media these days, because like a lot of the time, everything's through photography, videos of their hair, sending them in, and have a look at it. How am I going to fix this? How am I going to work with this? So I think for us, not having a price list, we can really sort of hone into exactly what each client needs. Instead of them going on there and actually going, oh, you do this, this, and this. And sometimes you just can't match that up to the price list as much. So it's easier that we give them individual consultations and actually work a price out for them individually, which is sort of where that sort of falls into.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it comes back to, you know, customizing and personalizing and making it totally unique for the client. I think it's great. Yeah,
no, that's exactly right. That's how we sort of feel. And I think it works for us as a salon. It works for our business. So, I think that's sort of where we've sort of tried to head, I suppose, in the right direction in that department. So, yeah.
That's so interesting, because I'm actually going to go off script a minute here, Jude, because I listened to a podcast recently which is very much about this. And like in Sydney at the moment, every restaurant, all the top restaurants, there's no more a la carte on the menu. It's a set dining thing, and it's a set time, and it's a set price. And you can either up it with the drinks package or whatever. But friends of mine that own restaurants are like, it cuts down my costs of what I've got to buy, and I'm more profitable. And this is definitely a conversation I think that we as hairdressers can have. In fact, I had it with my staff this morning, as in almost like a package that's include, you know, your toner, your treatment, your home hair care, whatever it may be, and you put it together as a package. Like, this is what you're going to need, the whole lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's definitely a conversation out there at the moment, as where instead of people going, "Oh, how much is a wet cut?"
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? No. Like, we've just been through an utter storm. I'm being polite. Like, and when we rebuild our business, it's definitely pricing is something that I think we can look at, because there's two issues that we have, and that's timing and money, right? Like, are we charging enough for our services? And when we are we booking out the right amount of time? Is where you put that in a package like a restaurant, and you do those packages all day long. I think it's definitely food for thought.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no, that was good. That just sparked off something. Now, I do need to clarify as well, because I just realised while you were talking that this is going to end up on YouTube at some time. If my family are watching, you know, I love you dearly. It's just that we cannot go into business together. So when I was saying we couldn't be in the same car, I said, Dad, I love you, but we'd be rubbish at business together. I'm rubbish at it, but as it is. So I just need to put that out there and just clear the air. But anyway, talking of my dad and your dad, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from your dad, but what's the best advice someone has ever given you?
Best advice. So I think the one thing that for me is the best advice is that you never stop learning in life. So even if you learn one new thing a day, that's something different that you learned from the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. I love that. Never stop learning. Never ever stop learning. And who do you follow on social media, Dan? And why do you follow it?
On social media? God. Clive, you're not going to like this, but I'm a massive Liverpool fan, as you know. So I know you're an Arsenal man.
Right, you won the league, we won the FA Cup. It's fine.
There you go. So I do follow
Liverpool. Could be worse. Man City.
As in the hair world, I suppose. there's so many people on our social media that we follow, from, colour to barbering to the whole lot. I think it's a matter of just really sort of giving yourself a broad spectrum, like I said before, using social media as an outlet to actually get inspiration from as well. So, but it's also even down to following graphic designers and designers themselves, like fashion designers and stuff. They all give you inspiration. So yeah, I follow so many different people through social media.
Yeah, great. Lots of creators.
Sports as well. I do follow a lot of sports. So
I'm actually really relieved to hear that, because if you look at my feed,
yeah,
I don't know what's happened with Facebook, but I just keep getting the same 3 people coming up and the rest of it's ads. But my Instagram feed is so diverse, from motocross bikes to helmets to, toy sharks. Like, I must have some very strange, weird taste. But talking of that, now listen, we've all had a lot of time just to sort of sit and to learn new things. What can you do today that you couldn't do a year ago?
I can definitely say that we won the league.
You've done that. You've said that twice now. Move on. I'll give you an example. Like, as I was saying to Chase last week, that I couldn't do this, what we're doing right now. I remember the very first time that we went live from my house. I think I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning, and that's where now I'm like, I've just go from one meeting to the next. I'm like, I just thoroughly enjoy it. It's like doing a haircut for me now. So is there anything like that you do?
Well, obviously, for me, I suppose, like social media and me don't see eye to eye a lot of the time. So I think for me, sort of really honing in on my social media aspect of what I've done in the past, and really understanding it a lot more and doing it better. So I think for me, doing social media a lot better is a huge thing that I'm learning. And for me, it's also about business. So I think for me, every day I'm doing something different or learning something new in business. So, what I did a year ago to the way I'm running my business now is 2 completely different ways almost. Do you know what I mean? So I've learned through the years, I suppose, with my business as well. So
I've just thought of one. You're using my colour. You weren't doing that a year ago.
Well, there you go.
Muck styling products. Hey, awesome.
So
Jude, over to you.
Which leads straight into, very nicely done, Clive. What are your favourite can't live without muck products?
Oh, so in 3 weeks, I think number 1 on the list would have to be, I would say, Filthy Muck. I love that product. I use it with so many different clients. And the other one would have to be Kinky Muck, I reckon.
Yeah, great.
Great for like blow drying straight, keeping it curly, doing whatever. It's just a really nice textured leave-in conditioner, I find. So yeah, they're the ones I've been using the most, I suppose, at the moment. But it's a matter of learning the product a little bit more and really getting out there and actually playing with it. So every day I try to use a different product just to sort of play with the product, which is great. So
yeah, great.
It's funny. My favourite product when I first started working with Muck was the Filthy.
Filthy, yeah.
I think it was because I had a love affair with the paste, and it was like a real pasty product for me.
It is.
It's funny that you've got a whole world coming for you, mate. It's going to be super exciting. It's super simple as well. Now, talking of a whole world coming for you, where's your favourite place on earth that you've ever been to?
Oh, my favourite place would have to be Berlin.
Amen.
Love Berlin. It's me and my wife said, one day we'll move to Berlin and live there for a while. But we just love Berlin. I think that's where we definitely would say that's my favourite place in the world. Yeah.
What did you like most about it?
Oh, the culture, the diverse culture, the streets. It's very, from the street art right the way through to just the people walking around, everyone felt like they were creatives. Does that make sense? Like the streets, the people.
100%.
Everywhere you go with like a creative feel. So
it's quite mad. And Jude, if you think about it, like it wasn't that long ago that Berlin was split in two with East and West.
I know. It's a bit like getting home from stage 4 to stage 3, kind of. The Berlin Wall. Yeah.
You've got that at Wodonga. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's obviously got a massive history, like you know, with obviously the wall, and obviously there's a lot of pain there as well. You know, like that. You know, anyway, I'm going to go off track. We could talk about Berlin all day, but there are some incredible. It's a bit like London. People do not care. They just got their own journey, and you can turn up in the most outrageous outfit, and no one gives a monkeys. You know what I mean?
No, it's just it was. I loved Berlin. It was definitely my favourite city I've ever visited. So
yeah, I definitely want to go back when I can. Where's next on your bucket list? Where do you want to go to?
So it's actually my 40th in a few weeks, and for my 40th, we were planning on going to New Orleans.
Wow.
So New Orleans was where we were supposed to be going. Unfortunately, thanks to COVID, we are stuck in Adelaide and in Australia, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I reckon that's the next on my bucket list, is to get over to New Orleans and drink whiskey while listening to jazz music. I think that's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do. I've had the pleasure of enjoying time in New Orleans, and can definitely vouch for that as a bucket list.
Oh, can't wait. It'll happen soon, I reckon.
Yeah.
I mean, any town that's main street is called Bourbon Street. It's going to be
exactly right.
It's called Narlands, isn't it? Isn't it how they pronounce it? Narlands. Kind of Narlands.
Narlands. Yeah.
Bit of jazz. You know, Nashville. I like to go. A bit of country music. I'm getting into country the older I get.
Yeah.
What are you most grateful for in your life so far?
What am I most grateful for? I suppose I'm most grateful for being in an industry which I don't actually feel like I'm working a day in my life.
Oh, that's powerful.
Love that.
Yeah. Boom.
How's that? That finishes it. No, it's definitely, I reckon that's definitely one of them. I think that's what I think all hairdressers love what they do, and I think they're all lucky to be in an industry where they actually feel that way, I think. So I think that's one thing that I love. So
wow, amen to that, man. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right, isn't it, Jude? We do have this unspoken influence on making people feel amazing, which if you can do effortlessly, what an amazing way to spend your day.
I know. And you know what? I actually really, really love that over the time of this year, that hairdressers have got this whole new appreciation from clients, but also some respect for themselves about what they do and the impact they make on people. You know, we do impact people's lives, and I actually, you know, we've always known it, but I love the fact that hairdressers are getting more acknowledgement for that, and for how much we can make people feel better about themselves. And I'm with you, Dan. Like, I love doing hair, and to actually kind of work in an industry and everything around it and surrounding it. You know, I do hair on Saturdays because I just love doing hair. It's great to be in an industry that you absolutely love and you don't feel like you're working a day in your life.
Well, we are an essential service, as we found out. So, you know, there's a reason for that, I would say. So, yeah, no, it is a beautiful industry we're in. So,
yeah.
You know, and if we don't use 2020 as a reset button for our industry, and you bang on the money there, Jude. Our clients now respect what we do.
Correct.
And if you're ever going to change something about your business, if you ever wanted to change a business, if you don't do it this year, you'll never do it.
That's right.
It's a clean slate, and I mean, you name it, we're talking about things today that we wouldn't even dreamt about back in January or February. Right. Last one from me. So we, and I know, Jude, you just watched the Clive Davis film.
Oh my God. That on your recommendation, unbelievable, amazing. Great way to spend a lockdown afternoon in Melbourne. The
Nothing
soundtrack
like
of our lives.
Banging out a bit of Whitney on a Sunday afternoon. It's fabulous. So, Daniel, what kind of, when either playlist in the salon or podcast, what is it? Is there a go-to for you?
Oh, playlist in the salon. That's an interesting one. As you know, everyone's got a different different idea of a playlist.
Yeah.
So for me, I suppose I'm a bit of a 90s grunge sort of person. I love all my rock as well. I love all my old school. So, you know, a bit of Bob Dylan. Unfortunately, with my lovely girls that work for me, listening to Bob Dylan, only allowed to do between about 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning and about 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. But yeah, I think the playlist, they can vary. I think the clients actually love, depending on who's in your salon as well, I really look at who's actually sitting around and we put our playlist on to sort of match our clientele at the time. So, but generally it's for me, it's always a bit of that, the grunge style, 90s grunge. I love all that sort of stuff.
So Dan, thanks so much for your time today. It's been so great getting to know you a little bit better and having our Muck family get to know you better. You are very much come across as someone who, you know, enjoys that creative aspect but also has discipline, which is really, really great, a great combination. And I think we've really kind of gotten to know and see your love of the industry and love of hairdressing and love for what you do. So thank you so much for sharing so generously with us today. And we look forward to seeing you in person as soon as we can. And welcome to Muck.
Thank you from here. Yeah, I love the fact that we moved over to Muck. So I look forward to the journey that we have in the future. So that's good.
Yeah, mate. Welcome on board, mate. It's so great to be to have you back on the team, and you know, I can't wait so we can travel again and we can have a cuddle. All right. So yeah. I'll see you soon.
Easy.
Thank you, Jude. Once again, thank you.
Pleasure. Bye.
Thanks, guys.